You might know someone who completely changed and turned their life around after the death of a loved one. You might know someone who has become closer to the Creator after a life of drifting away from spirituality. These are examples of mystical experiences and spiritual transformations. A spiritual transformation might sound like it only happened in an ancient desert, and a mystical experience sounds like something only the Dalai Lama can achieve. However, these experiences happen throughout history and to people all over the world. Up to 50% of Americans say that they have had a mystical experience or a religious transformation. What did these people experience? And how do spiritual transformations and mystical experiences work? Mystical experiences are different for each and every person. Some people see entities, hear voices, or have a sudden, deep knowing about our true existence. A mystical experience can be a spontaneous moment of absolute clarity on the meaning of life. Or it can mean seeing the Creator, God, Soa, in the presence of nature. Mystical experiences tend to have some common traits. People who have had mystical experiences often say they can't describe it, that there are no words to do it justice. They may feel that what they have experienced has taught them something profound about life. They may experience a truth, a knowing that they have tapped into the knowledge of the universe. A mystical experience can cause a person to lose their sense of self, their ego. A mystical experience can cause an overwhelming sense of unity with the universe, that we are all one. Mystical experiences can be caused by outward events or by inward contemplation. In an inward mystical experience, one experiences a vast void that is often called pure consciousness or a deep inner peace. Prayer and meditation are examples. In outward mystical experiences, you may find yourself lost in whatever you are looking at. For example, if someone is looking at the sky, they can lose their sense of self and find their consciousness becomes the sky. So, who can have a mystical experience? There are mystics like the Sufi sect in Islam who devote themselves to contemplation. Tibetan monks and Christian saints have had mystical experiences. But mystical experiences can happen to anyone. How do people have mystical experiences? Some are spontaneous, some are sought out. For example, the sleeping prophet, Edgar Cayce, had spontaneous mystical experiences as a child. When Cayce was 14, a beautiful glowing woman appeared at the foot of his bed and gave him a message about having faith. This was just one of many mystical experiences that happened to Edgar Cayce. Now, sought-out triggers for mystical experiences can include prayer and meditation. Chanting mantras or communing with nature can also cause mystical experiences. So, what are spiritual transformations? A spiritual transformation can mean a shift in a person's life path. It can lead them to living a more spiritual and meaningful life. It doesn't necessarily mean a shift toward religion. And one does not have to be a religious person to have a spiritual transformation. Going through a spiritual transformation means feeling closer to the divine unknown. It means becoming aware that there is something much bigger than you and you are a part of it. People can go through multiple spiritual awakenings during their lifetime. And a spiritual awakening isn't always intentional. Some people have experienced spiritual growth due to the death of a loved one or a horrible accident. If you've gone through a major life change or trauma, you may know what I'm talking about. For example, you may have had a near-death experience or are fighting a life-threatening illness. Going through heartbreak and grief can cause people to look for a power greater than themselves. Spiritual journeys and mystical experiences might sound like woo-woo nonsense, but they are actually very familiar to millions of people. And they continue to happen to people all over the world, whether spontaneous or intentional. After all, we are spiritual beings having a physical adventure. Have you had a spiritual or mystical experience? If you would like to, please share it in the comments below, or send your story to my email in the description box. And I hope you have a wonderful day out in the mystical, magical realms that we live in. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this content and want more.